Sheri West, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. You are the founder of LiveGirl and She Works. We're excited to have you to talk about all kinds of things. Let's start at the beginning. Tell us about growing up and where you were raised and what your family was like back then.
Yeah, well, first I just want to say I'm honored to be here and honored to be included in the Women Leaders series in celebration of the 19th Amendment. So growing up, I grew up actually on a farm in Michigan with my parents, my brother, and lots of animals. And it's really there that I attribute kind of learning values such as hard work. And I learned, my mom used to say, dreams, you can't make your dreams a reality by magic. You need to make them a reality through sweat, perseverance, and hard work. And so I really attribute a lot of my values to my upbringing.
What kind of craziness went on at the farm? Tell us a good story.
Listen, Meredith, what happens on the farm stays on the farm. No, just all kidding aside. So my mom on my mom's side, we lived adjacent to my grandpa's farm, and my mom is one of 13. So we had lots of cousins and lots of fun times on the farm, whether it was playing in the hay barn or, swimming in the pond, fishing in the pond, tapping maple syrup, all fun times on the farm. And I would just say that, as a little kid, I was definitely, out of the box, out of the gender box, so to speak, a bit of a tomboy. My parents have called me unapologetically ambitious and tenacious, and I think a lot of that is because of the way I grew up.
You were surrounded by a lot of relatives and family.
Mm-hmm.
Were any of them inspirations to you?
Oh, I've had a lot of inspiring people in my life, but and my mother, first and foremost, has always been a source of inspiration to me, and especially now as she's battling metastatic breast cancer. But I have to say that it is a marvel watching her live with cancer, and the resilience and determination that I get to watch every day is incredible. And she is a true warrior and a true inspiration. And I would say, other than my mom, I've always been inspired by teachers, professors, a lot of role models. Like, I have to mention Ruth Bader Ginsburg, because for me, she was one of the most important civil and gender rights icons in the history of our country. Recently passed, of course, Michelle Obama. And really, it's also just the young people today that are inspiring me.
Well, I'm going to ask you some more questions about that a little deeper into the conversation, but after you left the farm, you went to college. Can you talk a little bit about where you went?
Well, I was always destined to go to Michigan State University. Go Green. I went to Michigan State for both undergrad as well as graduate school. And then from there, I went out into the workforce. And I actually, after working at PepsiCo for a few years, I joined GE and stayed there for 16 years and, enjoyed a successful corporate career.
Let's talk about that corporate career. Give me a little background on some of the roles that you had, and were there other women that you worked with and maybe some mentors within the corporate structure?
Sure. So I was very fortunate to participate in GE's audit staff, which was a leadership training program, which meant that every 6 months you got a different assignment somewhere else in the world. So it was such an incredible opportunity to travel the world and see a multitude of different businesses and business situations and actually play different roles, everything from human resources to finance to compliance. So it really was just such a well-rounded business leadership training program. And from there, I took successive leadership roles in finance, investor relations, and corporate citizenship, and was also highly involved in GE's women's leadership mentoring network, first, of course, as a mentee and ultimately as a mentor. And late in my GE career, I actually also taught leadership courses at the GE Management Leadership Institute, which was a great experience for me.
What do you think are some of the traits of a great leader?
Traits of a great leader, I think of as kind, compassionate, but bold in their ideas, someone who is inclusive and brings a lot of different people to the table and listens to the different voices and perspectives at the table. And someone who can be creative and think creatively through a problem.
Do you think men and women have different traits as a leader?
Well, what I think is that, unfortunately, I think that all of us from a very young age have been trained to think that a leader looks and acts like a white man. I mean, that's what most of us have been trained to think. So some of the traits that I as a woman might demonstrate, the kindness, the compassion, may not be as valued in a leadership trait. But I think that's one of the things that we're trying to do with LiveGirl, is to really change some of those stereotypes and to really, we had a campaign, this is what a leader looks like, and showing all of the many different diverse girls that we work with, because leadership comes in many different forms and attributes. And we need well-rounded leadership. And actually, I think it's exciting during the pandemic, there's been a lot of discussion recognizing that some of the female-led nations have performed the best. I mean, you look at New Zealand and Germany and Finland and Taiwan, all female-led nations. So I think there is a growing awareness that, that leadership can look and sound differently, and that we need to value different approaches to leadership.
That's great. Oh, I love what you talked about on the global level with the women leadership there. When did you have your aha moment and to create LiveGirl?
So I spent about 16 years at GE, and around the time that I had 3 young ones, reached a point where my work-life balance wasn't working. So I actually took a few years off to focus on my kids, and around that time, we started hosting young women through the Fresh Air Fund. And that was really the aha moment for my entire family. We realized that we really realized our privilege, and that some of the things that we had access to and that our kids had access to, including, role models and mentors and various experiences that not everyone did. And so as a family, really, I have to credit my whole family, my husband, and I have a son, Connor, in college, and two other teens, Olivia and Donovan. We sat down and really decided that we had to do more. And so that was when the idea of LiveGirl was born, and it really is intended to pay it forward to the next generation of diverse female leaders, and to make sure that all girls have what they need to thrive in this world.
Give us some detail on some of the programs that LiveGirl is involved with or runs.
Yeah, well, it's really, for me, it's an exciting opportunity to talk about founding LiveGirl, and then to kind of fast forward to now, because we've grown so much. What we initially started as mentoring middle school girls, we now every year provide free of charge leadership development and mentoring to girls starting in grade 5 and extending all the way through college. And everything we do is evidence-based, proven to build self-esteem, social-emotional intelligence, and empathy, which we believe are the keys to a confident, inclusive leader, which is our mission. So some of our programs, like our signature programs in middle school, is the Confidence Club, where we form small groups of girls and we pair them with a professional mentor. In high school, we have the LiveGirl League, where we form small groups of girls, and then actually mentors from the Junior League of Stanford Norwalk mentor them over 8 weeks to launch a community impact project. So that's really exciting, because it's creating this ripple effect where we're building confident leaders that are then going out into their local communities to make the world a better place. A big part of what we do is give girls access to fierce female leaders like your boss, Barbara Stevens. She's incredible. And we're always doing like pop-up leadership conferences and summits. And we have this girl boss competition where we have girls pitch their entrepreneurial ideas to a panel of fierce women. And having a girl be able to look at someone who looks like her is an incredible, eye-opening experience to truly know what's possible for them. So we do that as much as possible. And just this year, we've brought in some incredible women, including CNN's anchor Alison Camerata, best-selling author Fran Hauser, lots of different CEOs and VPs, and then we'll bring in like a race car driver or someone totally different, because we want them to know about all the different possibilities for them. Yeah.
Sheri, you've also created something called She Works. What's that?
Yes. So I like to say, other than the birth of my 3 children, Launching She Works during the pandemic is what I'm most proud of in life. So She Works is an exciting, innovative new career readiness program for high school seniors through college age. And this past summer, we launched She Works. So it's a competitive program, and we were able to select 35 young women, 60% women of color, and we developed and administered 40 hours of career readiness training. And then we matched these young women with internships out and about Fairfield County. And then during their internships, we also paired them with a LiveGirl mentor to really make sure that they were set up for success and that they were able to troubleshoot and talk through any challenges or issues they were facing in the workplace. And it exceeded all expectations. And as you know, Meredith, internships are so important to start a young person's career, but we hear from college students, the studies show that 91% of internships are gained through connections, and specifically familial connections. So She Works is leveling the playing field in a massive way to connect all of these brilliant, young, diverse women with companies, and hopefully companies that are demonstrating female leadership so they can learn from that too.
I think I need to get involved in that.
You
because
do!
My slogan has always been, it's who you know, and every job I've had, it's because I knew somebody that's helped me.
That's right. But we teach them how to network too. So one of the things we teach them is, as we bring in these different women who do the training and during their internships, we teach them how, when you meet someone that day, you link in with them and you send them a note and then you follow up with them. So we teach them all about networking, which is such an essential professional development tool.
Absolutely, absolutely. Part of the reason why we're here today is to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, the ratification, giving women the right to vote. When was the first time you voted, Sheri? Do you remember?
I'm 50, and I definitely voted when I was 18, so I guess I've never thought about that question, like who was the first president I voted for. But yes, I am very civic-minded. Actually, in addition to my role with LiveGirl, I also serve on the New Canaan Public Schools Board of Education, so I do believe in actively engaging in your community, and I do believe that everyone needs to vote, everyone's voice matters. So I will definitely be voting November 3rd.
If you were around 100 years ago, do you think you would have been part of the movement?
It's a very interesting question. I've actually thought about that question. I would say my activism has come to me later in my life. I would like to think that I would have had the bravery and the courage of the suffragettes, and that I would have risen up to that moment in time. I would love to think that. All I can really answer for sure is that today and in the future, I will be doing everything possible to make sure that we have equality in this world, and that all women have equal opportunity in every way.
Well, let's talk about gender equality. Where do you see it going in the future?
So I am very hopeful and optimistic, and I have to tell you, a large reason why is because of my work with LiveGirl, because I see these young people, Gen Z, and these young leaders like Malala and Yara Shahidi and Greta Thunberg rising up and making their voices heard and making such a significant positive difference in our world. And so I am hopeful that 10 years from now, we're going to see even more women running for public office, and I believe we'll have our first female president in 10 years. I think we'll see more women leaning into leadership positions. And, my daughter in 10 years will be in a leadership position, and all of these thousands of Live Girls that we've equipped with these leadership skills to be confident, inclusive leaders will be out there. So I am hopeful and optimistic. I know there's a lot of work still to be done, and I'm committed to that work. I know it's also like a generational commitment, but my commitment is that I will do all that I can so that my daughter can stand on my shoulders, just as I've been able to stand on the shoulders of those suffragettes.
Let's switch gears a little bit. You've been living in New Canaan for how long now?
So since 2007.
And how did you find your way to New Canaan?
So both my husband and I, we were both working in corporate America at the time and moving around a lot to manifest different opportunities. So back in 2007, we were ready to grow some roots, and we got an opportunity in this area. I was actually late in my pregnancy with our third child, so I sent my husband on the house hunting mission solo. But when he called and said, I found the house, on West Hills off from West Road, and that our kids would go to West School, being that
How
my surname
perfect.
is West. We both agreed it must be perfect. So we've moved here. We moved here mostly because of the excellent public schools, and my mom was a public school teacher, and I believe strongly in the value of a public education. I now serve on the New Canaan Public Schools Board of Education, and feel so lucky to be in this community. It's such a wonderful, thriving community to raise a family.
And what are some of the traditions that you like that you've found in New Canaan?
So we live on West Hills Road, and we have a lovely tradition of having an annual neighborhood potluck, which is just such a fun throwback thing to do. But like literally once a year, we set up a bunch of folding card tables, and everyone brings a dish, and all of the neighbors and the kids have grown up that way together because they see each other every year. Halloween is a big tradition in our neighborhood, and we always have costume parties where everyone must dress up. Last year I actually dressed up as RBG, and this year I'm deciding either to be a suffragette or Gloria Steinem. I haven't quite yet decided, but Halloween is a big tradition for us as well.
Are there any places around New Canaan that you love to spend time at?
The land trusts, in the New Canaan Nature Center. We actually, during the pandemic, got a puppy, a mini golden doodle named Lucy. So we are using those trails more than ever, which is amazing. Irwin Park, we love, and Waveney, all of the conserved spaces. We're so blessed to have those here in New Canaan.
How about the restaurants? We have a lot of great ones. What are some of your favorites?
I love New Canaan restaurants. So we love them all, honestly. Don't make me play favorites, but Soleil, South End, Elm, and Kava are probably our special places, and Hashi Sushi for Uber Eats sushi.
That's good. That's good. How do you balance everything, Sheri? You're raising a family, you have a business. Talk to me about how that works for you now.
So what I've learned is that you can have it all, but perhaps not all at once. So I've learned to give myself a break. I took a few years off to focus on my kids, which was a really important time in our lives to do that. And I give myself a break. I mean, if we have to do pizza takeout 2 nights in a row, we have to do pizza takeout. And guess what? The kids are probably like that better than my cooking anyway. So, I do want it all, and I am unapologetically ambitious, as my parents declared at a very young age. But I'm also forgiving on myself, and I forgive myself when some things fall off the table.
You are a mentor to so many young women these days. For those that are going off to college now, if you were in a room with a group, what would you give them? What kind of advice would you give them?
So it is one of the greatest joys of my life to mentor these young women, and truly they give back so much more to me. I mean, it is what gives me purpose. And I like to say, right now, there's a lot of darkness in our world, but the purpose that I have through LiveGirl always brings me light. But so the advice I would give to young women going off to college, first of all, is to lean in to leadership, that you are as qualified as anyone else, and not to be afraid to try new things and to fail. I think that there is such a race for perfection amongst young women today, and that really that holds them back from taking risks. And I know that we talked earlier during my GE career, just moving around and trying different jobs and different business settings helped me grow and learn as a leader. It truly is what shaped me into the leader I am today. So that's what I would tell young women, is to really get out there. And if you're not uncomfortable, you are not growing. So I would just encourage them to get out there and try new things and meet new people too. I think it's essential that we all build authentic bridges to people whose lives are different than our own. That's how you build empathy. That's how you become, an inclusive leader. So, don't hold back.
Totally agree with you on all of that. That's terrific. Sheri, what are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm looking forward to the pandemic being over, and I'm looking forward to creating a new normal in our country, and one that really has space for everyone. One that gives everyone equal opportunity. And again, because of what I see with the young people rising up, I do have hope that that's going to happen.
Sheri West, thank you so much for being with us here today. You are a true woman leader of New Canaan. Thank you.
Thank you, Meredith. And you are as well. And thank you for being so kind during your interview.